my grits. It's time for Must Have Seen TV, the podcast dedicated to the sitcoms of the 20th century from Lassie to Frasier. I'm your TV guide, Brett White, and I'm also editor-in-chief of pophouse.com, which is a website coming to you in the very near future, very, very, very near future, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Oh, my God. And say hello to the Mel to my Alice, Ethan K. Hello, Ethan.
Brett, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing?
I have to say, I am very sad that I am not in drag to celebrate the wonder that is Flo. Because what a drag character.
Her hair launched 1,000 drag queens.
Jeez, I mean, like, truly the icon. Kiss my grits? Like, it makes no sense as a catchphrase. We'll get to it. But in terms of just sass, you got to love the sass. What is going on with the Patreon?
The Patreon, we are cranking out bonus content. We are posting things for people to read, including behind-the-scenes articles.
I just posted the Marlo Thomas interview that I talked about in the That Girl episode. Yep. The interviewer who was really patronizing to our dear Marlo Thomas. Wait, did I just patronize her by calling her our dear Marlo? No, she is dear, and she's also very smart and cunning.
She's an American icon in more ways than one. Really, just, she did That Girl, and there was no stopping her. There is no stopping Marlo Thomas. She's amazing. But we're also posting bonus videos of Must Have Now TV, which is the podcast within the podcast, or the neighbor to the podcast.
Oh, there you go.
Other cool stuff.
Especially, I mean, last week I did it in drag, so that means there's a whole drag video that people aren't seeing unless you pay $5. So I like that.
Yeah.
Because when I do it, I need people to see it. You can also always go to YouTube and see us anytime for any episode, which is where we post all of our videos. And we also, if you also leave comments there, we'll talk back to you. I feel like I did just. Oh, someone.
We did just get a comment.
Someone commented on the YouTube about us praising Don from That Girl as being the perfect man, which I do. He's such a sweetheart, especially compared to Darren.
Look, Don did a fantastic job. I will say it.
Ted Bessel.
Now, I agreed. Most people are always responded to your George and Leo.
Guys, I'm sorry. There's only 3 episodes.
But we do want to thank at Winter Wind on YouTube, who really did come through with a really great comment, some really great really great feelings about That Girl and Don, especially. We all love Don. Don's great.
So please, review the show in iTunes or wherever you're listening. Comment on YouTube. We'll talk to you. Subscribe to the podcast on Patreon. Have fun. We're all in this together, but my time machine's really big because it can hold all of us as we travel to November 19th, 1978. The Lord of the Rings, no, not that one, ruled the box office. MacArthur Park by Donna Summer topped the charts, and CBS aired the Alice episode, Who Ordered the Hot Turkey? Ethan, who ordered the hot turkey?
Well, it certainly wasn't me. But this was an interesting episode because of where it landed in television history and world history. So November 17th, 2 days before this aired, Star Wars Holiday Special airs.
Oh, God.
And if you've watched the Star Wars Holiday Special, this is on the same channel, CBS, as Alice. So all of the video captures of the Star Wars Holiday Special that you can buy bootlegs of all have the commercials, and one of the commercials is for this particular episode of Alice.
Honestly, that makes this episode of Alice iconic.
Exactly.
Honestly, should have an entry on the Wikipedia.
It is probably the most known Alice episode before that just for that reason.
Yeah. At least, God.
But then, November 18th, 1978, Jim Jones and the People's Temple Massacre in Guyana, where cult leader Jim Jones murders a congressman and his entourage.
It has nothing to do with the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Nothing to do. Well,
okay.
you don't know.
You don't know. You could have watched it. I don't know.
And then he orders his entire following to commit suicide by drinking
Yeah.
poison flavor aid.
It is wild. I think people don't realize that the Jonestown Massacre started because of the assassination of a congressperson.
Yeah, it was to cover up
Like
the
on the
fact that he.
tarmac.
Yeah,
Like you thought it was wild, and then it's like, no, it's even wilder. It's wild in all the ways.
he's the only congressman to be murdered while in office.
Oh wow,
Others
God.
have died, for natural causes or accidents or things, but he's the only one to be murdered. I honestly, I hate to say it, I don't have his name in front of me.
Uh,
So
but November 18th.
the world found out about the Jonestown Massacre on November 19th, 1978,
Wait,
when this
so
episode aired.
I guess I'm assuming that it was 60 Minutes aired before this episode of Alice. So I'm assuming that 60 Minutes absolutely talked about that. It's like
Yeah.
60 Minutes, then All in the Family, then this, I think. So yeah, like that's fucking nuts.
Yeah. So this
uh,
is, and then, culminates in, Alice, who ordered the hot turkey.
but honestly, if any episode's going to heal a nation, it would be. So my history with Alice, I think this is the first time we're talking about Alice, is I don't have one because this show was not in any syndication
No.
around my childhood. Never landed on Nick at Night or TV Land, at least during my prime years of watching, and also is not available to stream. Like you had to buy the
Yeah.
episodes. It's for sale digitally, but it has, as far as I know, never been available to stream, and I don't know why.
I don't know. It's been through syndication, when it launched. 1980 was when it first went into syndication. It was on TBS in the 80s, it was on E in the 90s, it was on TNN in
Mm.
the 90s, Ion Television. I'm reading the Wikipedia.
Yeah, I mean,
Logo TV, Antenna TV.
for a show that was as popular, because this show was a huge, huge, huge hit for a long time, it
Yeah.
is wild that it just does not exist in the syndication, the public consciousness. And it also had "Kiss My Grits," I think is more famous than Alice, the
Yeah.
phrase.
Uh, if you want to dive in super deep, I will recommend the Wikipedia page because, as far as obsessive fans have gone, they went way farther on the Alice Wikipedia page. I have never seen a Wikipedia page this in depth. It's talking about, like, in one season the payphone was a rotary phone, and in the next season it was a push button phone.
Well, yeah, Mel leveled up. That's insane. I
The
guess
uh,
if you
the
deny this,
refrigerator
the
started
fans are
out as a blue
starving.
refrigerator and then became a chrome refrigerator and then became super polished. It is honestly, it is a longer Wikipedia page than any other sitcom that I have ever seen, including big ones like Brady Bunch.
That's yeah. I mean, I guess it's like the fans are starving, so they got to channel this energy somewhere. We're not feeding them with like streaming and whatnot. Hey, I don't know. This episode might be the biggest episode we do.
Maybe.
Fingers
Well,
crossed.
it lasted 202 episodes over 9 seasons,
That's insane.
and even the big name, Polly Holiday as Flo, quit the series in
Early.
after 3 seasons, I think.
Yeah, it's that David Caruso, right? Or no, well, no, because she left to do the spinoff Flow,
Yeah,
which
she went to do
itself lasted, I think, 4 seasons.
2 seasons. It
Oh
lasted a
God.
season and a half because it was a mid-season replacement, and
Oh.
then it did well. And then they did what they always do. They moved it to a different time and a different day, and the entire first season just gone.
You know, it's either when did America start falling apart with Reagan's election or the
Or when,
cancellation
or
of
when Flo
Flow?
left the series in 1980. I don't know.
But this week on Must Have Seen TV, we'll be talking about the Alice episode, Who Ordered the Hot Turkey? It is the ninth episode of season 3, and it was written by Tom Whedon, yes, the father of Joss Whedon, and directed by William Asher, yes, the husband of Elizabeth Montgomery and the guy that directed almost all Bewitched. Here's how iTunes describes the episode. Mel has trouble with turkeys when he stays open on Thanksgiving. Ethan, how accurate
Yeah.
is that description? I mean,
It-
that is like,
yeah.
there's a
Trouble with
lot more
turkeys.
going on in this, but okay, the credits. Tom Whedon, That's
John
nuts.
Whedon, who did 73 episodes, he produced 73 episodes of Golden Girls,
Hmm.
93 episodes of It's a Living.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
I mean, you've got William Asher, who is as TV royalty
Royalty.
as you
Yeah.
get.
Well,
You
and the
get
show was created by what Bob Carroll, Madeline, like the writers that did I Love Lucy.
and itself was a spin-off
Of a movie.
of an yeah, Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, directed by Martin Scorsese, starring Ellen Burstyn, Chris Christopherson, and Harvey Keitel.
Like, what is this? It's madness. But no, so Joss Whedon, who, yes, canceled. You know,
Wait,
it sucks. It sucks. It sucks. Buffy is a very important show to me. Astonishing X-Men run is very important to me. But you got to admit when people suck, and I had heard stories about how he sucked about 15 years before everyone else heard all before witnesses came forward.
well,
So when they did, I was like, yeah, okay, I've heard sketchy things. That's what happens when you work in comic books in 2008.
you want to
Uh,
know another person who worked behind the scenes on this? Script supervisor Arthur Marks, son of Groucho Marx.
what the hell?
Everyone was involved in this. Vic Tayback, who plays Mel,
Uh-huh.
also played Mel in the film.
And he's the only person who comes back.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nuts. But yeah, so pedigree, 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 and that's what we're getting into. Which opening credits. I My husband doesn't really like Alice. Like, can't really like. I'll put it on for holiday episodes. But the theme song. The theme song is one of the most unhinged and joyous theme songs in TV history.
I
Because
got caught up on it too because I was like, what is the melody for this? It's all over the
well,
place.
it starts like it's like a disco jazz ballad, and so like the visuals are too many cooks. All the characters do this the wackiest moments of the previous two seasons, edited together, yellow type with their name. You know exactly what I'm talking about. All shot on videotape, so it just looks bad. Um, but then the song is a funky disco ballad sung by Linda Lavin, I do believe.
But yeah, it's
Yeah,
called There's a New Girl in Town.
and it is like the most Broadway karaoke by way of seedy diner. Like if if a seedy truck stop diner was doing karaoke night,
Yeah.
and the way that she just, I feel like I got to get really far back. There's a new girl in town, and I'm feeling good. It's just like,
The whole point of of Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, the movie, was Alice was an up and coming singer in California. She falls in love with Harvey Keitel. They move off to Phoenix, or sure, no, they have a bad relationship in California. She runs off to Phoenix, and hooks up with Chris Christopherson. And the whole point of this is, does if she stays in Arizona, does she still have that singing career to go back
mm,
to? If she goes back to California. And in the series, she stays. The whole thing is in Phoenix.
yeah, singing's done. Her dreams are dashed. She's just in
Yeah,
Phoenix.
yeah.
I
But she did
imagine.
get Linda Lavin singing the theme
God,
song.
God, and it's just, yeah, it is a humdinger. I will 100% do a drag number to that at some point because it's,
If you don't want to spend the $2 to rent this on Amazon Prime, do yourself a favor and just watch the opening credits on YouTube because you're like, this is what they chose.
it's like every week, just like it's like the and if you threw a party part of Golden Girls, but it's that the entire time. Like it is like that level of like we are turning this out. It's so good. Um, so the show itself is set at a diner, Mel's Diner.
Mel's Diner. In Mel's Diner, the exterior, it was a diner in Phoenix that
Oh,
changed its name to Mel's and is still open today.
good for the love of tie-in. And the show basically, I mean, it's like a small cast. It's just Vera, Flo, and Alice. The three diner waitresses and Mel, played by Vic Tayback, who owns the place and is a he's your jerk, he's your macho jerky kind
Yeah.
of dirty man,
And
and then
Linda's
got
son,
her.
uh,
Oh, and Linda's son.
Tommy, Philip, played by Philip McKean.
Now, one thing I notice every time I watch Alice and just flat out don't understand are the napkin name tags. The huge ass origami folded napkins that take up almost like are hitting their chins, how big they are, that they have pinned to their like blouses, shirts with their name tag.
I don't
And
know what
every
to tell you.
episode they're different, and every episode like, and I was like, I've been to diners, and I don't is was that a thing?
Mel
I,
keeps it classy.
yeah, it's also not an easy way to. Well,
Well,
I guess maybe if you're, I'm trying to think of, like, I'm a diner lady, and I'm like carrying food. Do I have a big napkin pinned to my shirt right here because of food spillage?
maybe. I don't know
Is
if
it?
they're
I
good
don't know.
waitresses or not.
No, well, I did write down that Flo is iconic.
Well,
Right?
is she a
Let's talk.
good
I guess
waitress? Does she
let's
do
talk
her
about
job?
our three leads
Yeah.
because we got Flo, Vera, and Alice, and they are first of all accents galore.
Linda Lavin was the big name. She did a lot in Broadway. She was one of the Compass Players, believe it or not, one of
Oh,
the with Elaine May and Mike Nichols and Del
I
Close.
can fucking tell. Like she is. Wait, where is she from? Does that New York accent real?
That's a good question. Where is she
Because
from?
she sounds almost like Rhoda. Rhoda went to Phoenix and became a waitress.
She was born in Maine,
Okay, so she's. It is
but she
weird
did
because
but she did study in New York. So
I guess so. It is weird. So she has a New York accent. Flo is from Texas and has a deep, deep, deep Southern accent, and then Vera is just on a different planet.
yes, Vera. I mean, I really enjoyed Vera, played by
Yes.
Beth Howland. She did some stage, she did some TV, but more or less retired after Alice. Um,
Okay. I mean, hey,
but
those residuals, I'm sure, are
yeah,
keeping her fun.
I hate to always go back to who they were married to, but I always find it interesting. She was married to Michael J. Pollard, who you might remember from Scrooged. He was the guy that froze to death in Scrooged. He was one of the gang members in Bonnie and Clyde. And then she was married to Charles Kimbrough of Murphy
Murphy
Brown.
Brown. Oh,
Yeah,
we love
I think
it.
they're still married.
Well, I think he died recently.
Oh. Oh,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
good.
yeah. Yeah,
Not good.
so they ain't married him. Oh, but yeah, so and then there's Flo, who is the Urkel of the show. I mean, like she's the breakout character, the one with the catchphrases.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you are looking for, if you're an alien crashing to Earth and you're like, we want to understand the human concept of catchphrase, you would just, well, here is Flo. For some reason, every now and then she's going to say "kiss my grits" once an episode at least,
Yeah. It was a big
and,
thing.
and I don't know. I would love the origin of "kiss my grits."
Well, it's not something that comes from the movie. Um, although Flo does say "kiss me where the sun don't shine" at one point.
Wait, are grits where the sun don't shine? Is that what
No,
like? Is that why people are laughing? Because it's like a double on, just like a weird.
it was one of those cool fun things that they came up
Sit
with
on
on
it,
set.
Potsy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere that they had like they tried out another one and it just like it flopped in rehearsals, and then Kiss
God,
My Grits came along. I was like, this is the money, baby. Um,
there's a
but
really good episode of, oh my God, it was a Dakota Ring. One of the podcasts I listened to did a whole episode on catchphrases and like where they've gone and like I think it was probably Dakota Ring. Um and they did Urkel has the most catchphrases. Like to an insane like almost I think like 15 catchphrases. Yeah, but Flo is like a pioneer of the catchphrase. Um
she
and
did,
then I do want to talk about, and this is an overarching note of in the midst of Vera's a basket case, like she's in a sweet way. She's the Rose Nyland. She's very endearing. And then Flo's sassy and hard-edged. Linda Lavin is, like when you go to your friend's like improv show and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to their improv show. And then like within the first 10 seconds, they make everyone laugh. And then you can go, okay,
Oh, it's a
whew,
good show.
okay, yeah. Like Linda Lavin has that effect. Like her presence on this show and in every scene she's in has such a like grounding, calming, reassuring, I am a professional's professional, like just on top of it energy that I think is very magnetic and compelling.
And I think that is, I hate to say it, it's kind of like a TV trope where you have the grounded main character and everyone else around them is a character.
It's a
I'm
creepy
thinking
weirdo.
Northern Exposure.
Yeah.
Like everyone around the character is just bonkers and wacky and they have their own shtick, but you can always just focus on the main character if you start getting a little seasick. And they are the emotional grounding. They are the one that the plots usually, spring off of.
Yeah.
She's the one that has the child. She's got Tommy. She's the only one that you really see her apartment at all.
Yeah.
Usually, I'd say that from what I've read, almost all of these episodes take place primarily in the diner. It is a
Good
super cheap show because it all takes place in
Yeah,
one
video,
location.
yeah. And Alice is trying to do something good for Thanksgiving, so she is hosting some orphans just at like the local orphanage.
Yeah, the
She's
children's
gonna host a
home.
couple at her apartment, but she's like, I wish there's still gonna be like a dozen that won't have a place to go. I wish I had a bigger place to host them. And dun
Yeah.
dun dun, that's where we
Well,
set up.
because Mel comes in a little late because he got a deal, baby. He got a deal on turkeys. 8 turkeys for $5 a piece. That's
Five
$40 for
bucks.
8 turkeys. He's opening the diner on Thanksgiving.
And Flo's response is $5. They must be older than Methuselah. I turned it to Paul Lynde a little bit.
I didn't think that Flo was very funny at first, and then she kind of grew on me through
Oh
the
God. Well, and then doesn't she? She also says like, we're going to work on Thanksgiving, and I think Flo's response is, "When donkeys fly."
That's her other big catchphrase.
Oh, really? That's a
So
good
yeah,
one.
she
That's.
repeated it.
But also, you can't like. I feel I can imagine the writers like they do a pass on a script, they think it's great, hand it to the network, and like you have to work in when donkeys fly
Yeah.
somewhere. That's a
You
hard
get
one.
one quick kiss my grits in the first 5 minutes, and they're like, "Brother, we got you." Arthur Marks is like, "I'm going to circle it in red because we already got it
Boom.
in there."
Well, yeah, because when they're like, he's like, work on Thanksgiving, her other response, man, to both catchphrases to this one uh
Yeah.
thing was just like, and all with all due respect in the holiday season, Belle, kiss my grits, and then everyone loses their mind, and that's great.
Film in front of a live studio audience, I think. I don't
Have
know.
you ever had to work on Thanksgiving?
Have I ever had to work on Thanksgiving?
I famously have.
No, I have not had to work on Thanksgiving. Um, I do remember having to take time off around the holiday to travel, but I have not had to work on Thanksgiving. How about you, though? Sounds
I've
like you
had to
have.
work. I had to work on Thanksgiving. I think I had to work when I worked at the movie theater. I think I had to do a Thanksgiving
Oh, that
shift
makes
then.
sense.
But Late Show with David Letterman. Because they always film on Thanksgiving. It was like a tradition for some reason. But and that is was it I can't remember. But yeah, so when I was an intern 2006, we all had to work on Thanksgiving. But what they do, which I thought was just very great, was like it is a like it was a chill day. Basically, like everyone can bring their entire families to the offices. So like every staff member's like significant other or mom or kid was there, and then
Oh,
they had a huge, very like good, expensive, like I think barbecue place probably like catered a Thanksgiving lunch on like every conference room floor, so everyone got like fed. And it's also I think it was usually like kind of a paint by numbers episode, so like it wasn't really like there wasn't a lot of work to do, like it wasn't a high stress. And then they also spend the day like filming things with the staff, like the like little
wow.
bits that they would then play during the monologue. And so basically, like everyone kind of also gets to be on TV, and then you also get like $100 because of Actors Guild stuff or whatever. So I got to be on TV that night because they did a bit where one of the segment producers was carving a turkey and carved off his hand and sprayed blood everywhere, and so they had all the interns line up and be like the people waiting, and we all had to go down to wardrobe and get fitted for clothes that could get like fake blood on them, and then oh, and also the best thing, I can't believe I forgot this. It's on Broadway. So if when you get there in the morning, if you come a little bit early, you can watch the parade, the
Oh,
Macy's Thanksgiving Day
wow.
parade from like the 11th floor. So you see them
Oh,
like right
wow.
there. Yeah, and like so it was like if you have to work on Thanksgiving, working at late show was like awesome. Like it was so much fun.
Here's an
Oh.
insider tip about the parade. If you are in the city or you're visiting the city, you're thinking to go to see the city, going to see the parade is a nightmare full of people. You cannot,
Don't go. Yeah, don't do
don't
that.
go. But the night before,
Before, which I want to do.
I did it once, and it was probably one of like the highlights of my time in New York. Go up to the Museum of Natural History and the Historical Society because that's where they're blowing up the balloons. And you can just walk around, and if you want to talk to some of the people blowing it up, the crewers are all there, and they're
Well,
just like,
in between breaths, they'll talk to you.
and they're just there, eating soup, drinking coffee, drinking hot chocolate, and they just hang out there all night as these gigantic balloons blow up to go
Oh,
down the street. And it's just a super chill, grab yourself like a cup of hot chocolate and walk around. You get to see all the balloons. You don't get to see the floats, but you get to see the balloons. And
yeah,
it's kind
that's
of a
the
cool
great
thing to
God.
do.
I need to do that this year. I need to actually make my New York dreams come true this year, if any year. So they reach a compromise. Of like, well, we're gonna bring the kids. Mel's gonna buy more turkeys, or no, he's getting the turkeys,
Yeah. He said
and yeah,
himself that one turkey serves 20 people.
yeah. And so he's like, okay, so all like 12 or whatever, the orphans are coming,
And they did
and
have they had a fun line that said, "But won't the kids be disappointed?" And then Vera says, "We could blindfold them."
And the other reason Mel is doing it is because he has already called the local news and is just like, yo, publicity. In an age before going viral, getting on that 6 o'clock news, Mel's Diner serving orphans on Thanksgiving, it's a good look.
Yeah,
And then,
Alice sells it by saying, "How warm it was for you to open your heart," because she's trying to get the rest of the orphans to come. She goes,
yeah.
"How warm it was to open your heart, and you could feel warmer." And Mel thinks that she's coming on to him. He's like,
Oh,
"Hey,
God,
hey,
yeah.
hey,
70s. No
70s,
HR at
70s."
Mel's Diner.
So the turkeys arrive.
Oh, my God. And so here it is. My favorite, I think this is one of the reasons why I chose this episode, is what I discovered. Like one of my favorite Thanksgiving sitcom episode tropes. One of my favorite sitcom tropes, period. One of the things I find funniest is when an episode has live turkeys. Like, so like he's like the guy who shows up is like, here they are, and it's like, oh, are they fresh? It's like, are they fresh? Well, I don't think you want to put them in the fridge. They won't like that. And then it is 8 live turkeys. And let's just talk about the cornucopia of mayhem and variables and storytelling elements that come into play when you insert a live turkey into the plot. And this episode does them all. First of all, it's a live animal on set in front of a studio
Yeah,
audience with the actors, and it's a turkey. They look
yeah,
like velociraptors, like covered in feathers.
they're
Like,
big.
and they're
They're big,
huge.
and they did have 8 of them because
Yes,
they show because you could easily be like, "Oh, we got 8 turkeys," and they just like
it's
bring one up on
shoot
the
them from a
counter,
different
like.
angle, and it's four, and it's four. Yeah,
But no, it's this. They show them in the back room. We have 8 turkeys in
it,
8 cages.
and so like the variable of like what's the turkey gonna do in this take, and then how the actors respond to that, I love because it's menace and mayhem. And I also love how when you introduce like script wise, if you put a live turkey into a Thanksgiving plot, and no one ever wants a live turkey in their Thanksgiving ever. It's always it is always a problem
You have to kill it.
because
No
then
one
you
wants to
have to
do that.
kill it. And there are no other holidays where the like it, and even Halloween, There are no other holidays that inject as much like threat of death and blood as Thanksgiving episodes with a live turkey.
There are very few other holidays I can think of that are that tied to a specific food.
Specific animal that you got, and also a crazy looking guy. Well, and then what are you going to do about correcting that? And then like at one point, Vera is like, "Well, how did the butcher do it?" I was, I don't know, like this, and Mel just like takes his cleaver and just like slams it into a head of lettuce, just whacks it off. It's just like. And Vera can't handle it because she thought that turkeys just came from the supermarket.
She owns a bird. It's established
He has a parakeet.
in the first scene. So she's terrified about this. And she says, the ones that I eat don't have feet, heads,
Oh,
or feathers, or laughing black eyes.
and then
Whoa.
sounds like my date last night. Oh my God, it's Paul Lynde. Sounds like my date last night.
Just do
Oh,
end impressions. You're fine.
yeah, but like, God, it's so good. It's so good. And so, of course, like, you have the one character that is like way too sensitive, no, appropriately sensitive about this
Yeah.
live animal. I have no problem eating a turkey, but if a lot, I would not, under no circumstances, kill a turkey.
No.
Did you ever watch Kid Nation on CBS?
No. I never watched that weird
It was
Lord
only
of the
one
Flies.
season. It was a bit.
Yeah.
It's like 2008, 2009. My first ever like I recapped that show for my own blog, but it was like the first show I ever wrote about every episode of. And they introduced a chicken coop in one episode, and it was like, are the 8 to 12-year-olds going to kill these chickens to eat? Great show, such a good show.
Bad idea. Very bad idea.
So yeah, Vera's bonding with the turkeys. She's naming them because they
Um,
look intelligent, and also turkeys are just crazy looking.
yeah, they're strange looking. But
Like
Alice,
Freddy Krueger in a fur coat.
Alice tries to put like a little bit of perspective on it. She says it's their destiny to end up next to stuffing
Yeah.
and sweet potatoes. It's like being born to dance.
Yeah. And then Vera tries to use that later, like, well, it's like you're a really good dancer. But
It was
then
all really good. I gotta say, the jokes were pretty good. Pretty
the
good
jokes
writing.
were very good writing, and also very like 30 Rock level almost of just like rhythm, like joke, joke, and hard jokes too. Like everything Flo says is a punchline. Like there's
Yeah.
no character growth there.
Yeah.
But then who shows up? Quite possibly, if you were going to cast, if you were like, which actor would I want to cast to play law enforcement after Turkey? That to like intimidate the
Who is it?
lead? Who would you cast?
I mean, at this point, it's probably going to be who they did cast.
James
James
Cromwell
Cromwell. James
from Babe
Cromwell.
and other things that he's done that are very important.
Yeah, he did. I mean, at the time he had just come off 10 episodes of Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman. So that was pretty good. He was on the Nancy Walker show. But this was a pretty big
But this is
role.
before he became James Cromwell and was like
Yeah.
a serious, like big. Has he won an Oscar?
I mean, that's a
Uh,
solid question. I mean, he's done a ton of stuff. He did Babe, Pig in the City. He did Babe. He did
he
Green
won a
Mile. That's right.
Primetime Emmy for American Horror Story. He was nominated for Babe. That's his one Oscar nomination. But
Angels in America.
is he Golden Globes? Anyway, yeah, like just every like great, American classic American actor. And he's playing a cop here looking for some hot turkeys. And the episode, so then let's now talk about one of my least favorite things. Maybe my least favorite thing in all of classic TV is so when they're like, no, those turkeys were stolen. You're under arrest. And then Mel makes a ooh, like he makes like an exaggerated like ooh face. And then my least favorite thing that ever fucking happens is the audience applauds for the commercial break. Like they're at like a play and the curtain for Act One just went
Oh,
down.
right.
I hate that so fucking much. It's like I think it's on All in the Family. It's like basically all the Norman Lear shows all have it because it also means that sometimes it's just like I got the test back and it's positive. It's
Clap,
just like
clap,
what
clap,
do we
clap, clap.
do? I hate it. I inexplicably I just it there's something about laughter that makes sense. to me. But there's something about applauding for the commercial break that is just breaks some sort of like fourth wall trust that we have with this. It's just bizarre to me.
There are only a couple of shows that do it well, and the one I'm thinking of is, do you remember Rock, starring Charles Dutton?
No.
It was a show in the 90s. It was a really great series. Charles Dutton, great actor, but it was one of the last shows filmed in front of a live studio audience. And at the end of every episode, they took a bow and they filmed it. You could see they played to the audience,
I
and
like that.
it worked as kind of like this TV play. Whereas this is probably borrowing some of that.
Well, it's a
Mhm.
bizarre, like it's just such a weird, like what are they applauding for?
Because
What do they
a
like?
little light went on that said applause,
Like
and
why?
that's it. That's the
Just I
reason.
know why they're
I don't
laughing
think
because it
Zach
was
thought
funny,
so.
but why it just drives me crazy. So anyway, the they're like, well, we can't. So like they're trying to like distract the cops. They're like, well, we can't let you, we're busy right now. We got a lot of customers and the place is empty. And then Flo's response is, yeah, the customers left. A lot of them go out for lunch.
And that's when I knew, I'm like, okay, these jokes are actually pretty good.
Yeah,
These jokes are pretty funny.
that's a good joke. And then all of a sudden, oh man, while they're being like there are no turkeys here, man, fucking turkey walks out. Turkey
Because
walks out on stage.
Vera's like, he needed to get it, he needed to go for a
What?
walk. Turkey
The
on set.
turkey flaps its little like wings of one, like just like flap, and it's just like, what's it gonna do? What's the chaos that this turkey can unleash on stage? I just
It just
love it.
walks out. It walks in, it walks out, which is
Mel's trying to convince the cop that it's his dog, etc.
yeah. Then the cop has the turkey owner with him. James Cromwell has the turkey owner.
Who
And
looked like my favorite Martian, but was not.
no, it was an actor named Owen Bush. I don't really know him from much.
Does he have the touch? Does he? No, that's his brother Stan.
Dan Bush. I'm just looking
Yes.
him up real quick. He was in The Last Starfighter. He was didn't do a whole heck of a lot. He was kind of like a bit player. But in this, he plays the owner of the eight turkeys who his truck was robbed the night
Bamboos. Yeah.
before. He was robbed, and he could identify the turkeys by their gold band on their leg, which I thought was funny. They say, "How
Because
do
it's
you
like,
know?" And he says, "Do you see that gold band on the leg?" And then someone says, "Mel thought that meant they were married."
yeah, I think that was Flo. Flo's like, I
Yeah.
thought that was fair. And then so the guy's like, well, you can if you want to buy the turkeys, they'll be $100. And I was waiting for the joke of each, but didn't happen.
Nah,
But
nah. It's
well,
the 70s. He had
no,
stagflation.
he pays the $100 and then they immediately smash cut to the back and Vera's like, farewell, like don't go near any like she's the back door is open. She has let out, she's bidding them adieu. And I love the franticness of them coming in. I'm just like freaking.
He doesn't get his $100 back. Nope,
Nope.
those turkeys are gone. That
Those cost
money,
$140.
$140 of turkeys that he did not get a chance to anything because
And
he pays because he is threatened to go to jail, and the
yeah.
waitresses are threatened as accomplices. That would
And they're
really
like, we were miles away when that happened.
yeah. So they would have all gotten cited, but at this point in the show, it had all worked out. Money changed hands, but Vera, um, they
Just let
said
them loose. And
they
now
say,
what are they gonna
Vera,
do?
Vera, what are you gonna do with these kids? And she said, let them eat ham. And they said, where do you think that ham comes from? And she says, baked Virginia. It
And
is
now
spooky.
we come back to the spread, the Thanksgiving spread. They have set up the table in the diner for all the kids. And I realize at this point that Thanksgiving might be the most 70s holiday
Because of the
because it
color.
is orange, yellow, brown,
Brown.
tacky decorations. Those like folding things that you open up, and they're like the soft like tissue paper turkey thing, and
Turkey butts.
just and
Yeah.
also just the idea of eating so much until you're like ready to burst, like sweaty and full, feels very 70s.
Makes me think of the Carter years, the
Yeah,
malaise. Yeah,
yeah.
right. So
And that's when this was. So yeah, so we're getting all that. And then I did note, is Flo dressed as a cowboy Power Ranger in this? 'Cause she's wearing, I guess, did Vera and Alice change clothes? Like, oh, because the news is coming. That is why. Like, Flo is now wearing like a hot pink neckerchief, and then she's got like a Western style shirt that is white up top, pink, and then of course just head to toe pink, except for like a white, almost like diamond design up top. And then she's got a huge ass belt buckle that looks like it has like a glitter morpher on it or something. And it's like, this is wild. Mel buys a plastic turkey and uh Vera's response to this, I loved, of just, isn't Mother Nature wonderful?
And Flo says the kids can really sink their teeth into that and leave them there.
Yeah.
Did you notice all too, like as they're panning over the kids, they have the that background mumbling, the peas and carrots, watermelon.
Yeah.
They keep throwing in turkey, turkey, turkey. I can't wait for the turkey.
Oh, that's
We're gonna have
good.
turkey. It's gonna be like these kids cannot stop talking about the turkey, and that feels like a very clear directorial choice.
I like
You know,
that. Like that,
raise the stakes.
that shows like they actually weren't just phoning for some reason. That makes me think they weren't just phoning this in. They were like, no, we're yeah. And also because honestly, like as a kid, if they were like, we're having chicken this year, I'd be like, A plus, fine. I don't care. I don't like turkey is a weird. It's like we're like, what is something that is huge, totally impractical to cook, almost impossible to get right,
Yeah,
and then also like kind of dry unless you really fucking figure out how to make it not dry.
yeah,
Like it is, we built this holiday around just one of the most
yeah.
impossible birds.
A very impractical bird. My
Love it.
my my family for years, my mom still has the brittle, fragile newspaper clipping that has how to cook a turkey that she has used since the Reagan years.
Lay it laminate.
No, my dear
Like,
sir, no.
like
But over the last couple
take a
years,
photo of it.
she's getting a little older, and my mom has said, well, this year she said she didn't want to do Thanksgiving, and then she said she did. But over the last couple years, she has reached out to Wegmans
Mm,
supermarkets and pre-bought a sliced turkey platter where
good.
all you have to do is heat it up. It's perfectly cooked. And believe me, that's another great tip. If you have people coming over and you don't want to, you know, monopolize your entire oven for multiple hours with a
Yeah.
turkey, you have to that just buy it. Even if
My
you buy a big deli turkey, like deli meat, and just cut it up like that, it's still better than dry turkey.
So with all the orphans there, the 6 o'clock news shows up, and just keeping just like the guest star, because this is only guest star number two of three, iconic guest star number two of three. Joyce Bulifant, who I adore. She's got the high pitched voice. She was Murray's wife Marie on the Mary Tyler Moore show. I
Woo.
also love that they had Marie, and Mary. Great. But she was his wife on Mary Tyler Moore. She was, to me, she's most known as Match Game. She was on Match Game all the time in the 70s. Very funny, very like, she has that bubbly, high pitched voice and she knows how to like make it like work with jokes. And I was like so glad to see her on this. And everyone else is very glad too, because they watch her while they're in their pajamas.
She has that 70s blonde bowl cut going
Yeah.
that I rocked until probably the mid to late 80s.
Yeah, you know. Well, and
What can I
also,
say?
I think our third guest star also has that same haircut.
Well, there are four guest stars. I don't know if you caught the fourth one. There is a secret fourth because,
Is it
well,
Darth Vader?
no, it's it's Lucy and Mel Tillis. But no, it's so there are kids at the table. And what the kid that you recognized
And it's
was,
obvious.
yes,
Corey Feldman.
Corey Feldman is one of the kids, and the other one of the other kids is Nancy McKeon
Right.
from who played Joe in Facts of Life.
That's it. Yeah, because I think one year I did like who are these kids? And I looked them up and I was like, okay, right. Yeah.
Well, probably one of the reasons that she got cast was she was the younger sister of the actor who played Tommy Alice's son.
Oh, go. Wow.
Now I'm gonna look it up because I probably screwed it up. It is Philip McKeon.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah,
we
that's
have
good.
four guest stars.
And so with the news there, then I also loved this joke too. So like they're like, yeah, all the kids are here. You know, Mel's got the plastic. The Mel comes out and he is in a full-on chef's outfit, like floofy hat, the like double-breasted white, like just, and it's just that's a
Yeah, it was a
funny
good
joke.
gag.
I love it. And then they call him Pillsbury Doughboy. Love, good that. Uh,
So he parades the turkey around and he gets all the applause and the accolades. And then Joyce Bulifant says, and now we're going to watch Mel carve the
carve
turkey,
is a
which
guy gonna carve it in the kitchen.
believe me, I cannot imagine more boring television than watching someone carve a turkey.
Yeah, yeah. Especially,
Yeah.
I guess it was must have been a slow news day because they keep coming back to the diner. Because like after this, like they get to a back and forth about the kitchen, no, blah blah, and then all of a sudden crash. He drops the turkey. It shatters like brittle 70s plastic, I guess.
But he had the great line. He said, "Oh, it's so well cooked, it falls off the bone."
Yeah. And then they go to commercial break, right? Yeah, like they actually like go to commercial like no, the news Joyce Bulifant like throws to like station identification. And then they come back. Like they're like, we have to find out. The local news, like, we have to find out what happens at Mel's Diner.
It's a scandal at Mel's Diner. Mel has
And
a fake turkey.
then when they Linda Lav and Alice starts like trying to give like a speech about basically about like, you
Life
know,
sucks.
life sucks.
Disappointment.
But yeah, and then the what I guess it's Facts
Nancy
of Life
Dugan.
girl. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
like, is she the one that says
Yeah.
I've already been disappointed. I'm an orphan. Which is so
So
dark and
good.
great.
It's
And
so good.
yeah, it was very great.
And then Corey Feldman stands up and goes, "We don't even like turkey. We don't even want the turkey," which betrays what they were doing when they
Yeah.
were talking about it earlier. And then she goes, "Well, we're at a diner. What do you want?" And they go, "Can we have chili dogs?" And then all the kids are like, "Yay, chili
Chili
dogs.
dog.
We can do chili dogs. That's easy."
Also, they cut back to Corey Feldman as for like a little stinger or something. Like he says his line, but then like he gets a reaction shot. And he like has like a little button to that. And it feels very much like on set, they were like, this kid is going places. This is like his how much stuff had he done before this?
That's a good question.
Corey
Uh,
Feldman, IMDb.
Corey Feldman. I'm also thinking like chili dogs at a diner. That's putting your life in your hands.
Yeah, hey.
They better have a lot of toilets at that children's home.
Scrolling back through this
This is
lengthy.
his fourth appearance as
Oh,
boy
America
orphan
Tonight.
number two. Yeah. He was child number three in three episodes of America Tonight. Same year though, so
Yeah, so
1978.
like he has not yet really he's played like one named person and he will not play another named character for another year after this. So like yeah, like
Yeah.
this is early and so they're like this kid like because they keep cutting to him and it's yeah. They got chili dogs, it's a happy Thanksgiving, they're waving by at the camera and be like yeah, boom,
And that
we're
was
out.
it. That's the episode. There's no stinger.
They
There's
were
no
like
like post commercial
there's
come.
a new girl in town and I'm feeling good. Okay. Yeah, are you ready for the must-have facts to accompany
Yeah.
Alice?
I thought this one went really fast too. This was a very
Yeah,
quick episode.
when you got all them jokes and you got the professionals on it.
Yeah.
And oh, 21.8 million people watched this episode of Alice. But let's just remind everyone that much like polls, the Nielsen ratings are honestly
Right.
they call a sample size and then they extrapolate. Like this is what anyway. For the week, this episode came in at number 4. So again, Alice, huge show. The top 5 shows that week. Number 5 was Pearl Part 3.
Oh.
Number 4 was Alice. Number 3 was Pearl Part 1. Number 2 was Three's Company, and number 1 was Laverne and Shirley. What is Pearl, you might ask?
What is Pearl?
Pearl was a 3-part miniseries on ABC about Pearl Harbor.
Oh,
It's starring Robert Wagner. And these are so if you ever seen
you've
like
seen it, haven't you? You've seen it.
the really hot photos of Robert Wagner. I've seen the promo. I didn't know they were from Pearl, but I'd seen the photos, and he's so fucking hot in them. Angie Dickinson, Leslie Ann Warren, Greg Henry, Katherine Hellman, Brian Dennehy, just a murderer's row of character actors, and Robert Wagner looking
Have you
hot.
seen it?
No, but I mean, I should now. I mean, God,
Yeah.
he's
Now that
not the
you
star, but he's in it. Uh, the CBS Sunday night lineup on this night was a potentially harrowing episode of 60 Minutes
Ooh.
about the Jonestown massacre. Then All in the Family, Alice, and then an hour-long special called Lucy Comes to Nashville.
Yep, starring Mel Tillis.
Lucille Ball. I need to see that.
It's advertised in the Star Wars holidays. How was the Star Wars holiday special not in the top 5 that week?
I don't think any. I don't know. I guess I should have looked and seen. I would have done research on it. I didn't even realize that it aired this.
The only reason I know about this
They
episode
turned
at
Life
all,
Day into a holiday.
yeah, is
This
because
one's
it was advertised. And if you can believe me, any copy of Star Wars Holiday Special that you can find is worth its weight in gold. It is great to watch because it's horrible. It is terrible. It is an awful special in nearly every single respect.
Yeah, I maintain that it's too bad for even me to watch again.
I've only watched it all the way through twice.
I
And
mean,
once,
one was at your place the first time I saw it,
yes,
and I remember being angry.
that was the first
It's
time I'd
like,
seen it.
how dare you?
But if you can find a copy and then watch it with the Riff Tracks audio,
Yeah.
Riff Tracks makes it better. And I think Riff Tracks actually has the entire thing available for download on their site because I
Has someone done like the upscale HD transfer of it yet? I feel like
they
people were doing because
have.
I would 100% watch that. Give me
There is,
like
yeah, there is an upscaled version of it. I think they just went back to like earlier tapes because it's been copied and copied and
yeah.
copied so many times. And believe me, the first 10 minutes is just Wookiees yelling at each other.
And with no subtitles. At one point, a Grandpa Wookiee masturbates essentially to a dancing hologram of Diane Carroll, I think.
Yeah,
Is it
Diane
Diane Carroll?
Carroll.
Yeah.
You've got Jefferson Starship, not Jefferson Starship, Starship,
Starship. Yep.
playing a song that they only got cast because the title of the song was kind of sci-fi-ish,
Well, and their Starship.
and their Starship.
Yeah, it's bad. It's great. It's horrible and awful. Maybe we'll do a Christmas special about it. I don't know.
Oh,
And
we
then
have to watch it again.
the night ends with Dallas, of course. So I mean, that's a big night of television.
Yeah.
But as all, big night of television, what are you going to be watching on this huge night of television? Because on ABC, we've got Battlestar Galactica. Starbuck, after crash landing on the planet Trillion, is rescued by a band of children who later decide to ransom the colonial warrior to the Cylons in exchange for their imprisoned father.
You gotta give them chili dogs, and
Yes.
they'll be calmed
The
down.
same orphans. Corey Feldman doing double duty this week. And on CBS, we got Alice. Out of the goodness of his heart and the promise of free publicity on the Channel 10 news, Mel agrees to treat a group of orphans to a big Thanksgiving turkey dinner at the diner. And then, last, you can tell it's like a holiday era because they're pulling out this kind of stuff. NBC aired Greatest Heroes of the Bible. 3 stories. David and Goliath, starring Roger Kern and Ted Cassidy.
Ted Cassidy.
Lurch.
Oh, I get it.
Samson and Delilah, starring John Beck and Ann Turkle. The Deluge, Part 1, starring Lou Ayres and Eve Plum. Part 1 of a 4-part series, 2.5 hours.
Oh my God. I'm looking at the cast now, and all the pictures of them are just old. I don't know why they just decided to use old pictures of everyone.
Oh God. So are you watching Greatest Heroes of the Bible, Alice, or Battlestar Galactica? Honestly, can't think of 3 more different things to
Yeah.
have.
I'm gonna say I'm probably watching Battlestar Galactica, but had I known about how good Alice was, I would have enjoyed Alice more.
Yeah, I mean, again, as a in theory, as a 40-year-old homosexual man living in 1978, I am obsessed with Alice. Linda Lavin is mother. Flo is icon. I am probably watching this, and then honestly, I might be watching this in a gay bar secretly, and also then like also hooking up with like men in the bathroom, like just free sex because man, like it's a time of freedom. We're getting our taste of liberation. We don't yet know. Oh my God, why am I taking this to a very dark place?
Uh,
Um, it was 78, baby.
78.
The
We had yeah, we hadn't yet got, Reagan
80s are dark.
candidacy. Yeah, 80s are
80s
dark.
are dark. Yeah, so on IMDb, 75 people rated this a 7.2 out of 10. Now, mind you, you gave Lassie a 6.8, that girl a 7.3. What do you give Alice on a scale of 1 to 10?
I was thinking about this before, and I'm going to give it a 7.1.
What? Whoa.
It's pretty high. The jokes are good. It moves at a very quick pace. The one part of the thing that kind of got to me was the whole point about Vera getting very sad about killing the turkeys. And just to take a second, we did have to put one of our cats to sleep this week.
That, yeah. Oh, God.
Beautiful, my beautiful girl, Science. And it hit me in kind of a weird moment where she's talking about this, and I'm like, okay, I had to go through the same thing on Monday
Yeah.
night. But overall, that aside, the jokes are really good. Even Mel's goofy face when they're like, "We got to arrest you," and he's like, "Whoa!"
Ooh.
Like it's funny. It really
Yeah.
was funny. We've seen enough of these sitcoms to watch episodes. Even Lassie was like, "There are no jokes in this."
Yeah, this is a half hour of content that we are putting, and it's light and sounding the corner of your living room.
Yeah, there are plenty of shows that just do like sitcoms that like try too hard or just aren't funny. And this one, hey, I watched it by myself and laughed out loud, which is
Yeah.
the sign of a quality show.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 7.9.
Woo!
Yeah, I mean, well, I gave that girl an 8.7 and Lassie a 6, but I would give this a 7.9 because it is like, again, a really great Thanksgiving episode. I might say a 5-star Thanksgiving episode in terms of like Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But what keeps it from getting into the upper echelons of the eights is just in general aesthetically, I do not like the videotape aesthetic.
Yeah.
We had film, guys. We had Mary Tyler Moore show looks beautiful.
I
Why
felt like
did
a
we
lot
do
of
this?
the one-liners were
Mm.
Flo's one-liners were kind of hit or miss, and that's what dropped it down for me.
And also, what I hate about this style of this aesthetic is that when it comes time to deliver the one-liner, they always punch in to a tight close-up
Yeah.
instead of having the character say the one liner in a wide shot or even a medium shot where you can see other people and it feels more grounded in like the reality of the scene that it's in. It
Yeah.
feels more like, and now here's the joke. And I also hate that. I think Flo would have been just as funny or funnier if you could see everyone else's reactions to her or see that she's saying this insane thing in a fucking diner. Like just the
Right.
visual is funnier. Anyway, so that's what keeps it out of the eights. Now the hard part, must see performance,
I thought
because
about
I
this.
could go all over the place with this, honestly.
I want to hear what you say, but for me, because I did think about this, I'm like, who is? And for me, it was Vera.
Yeah, yeah, I could see that.
It was Vera. It was Beth Howland. Um, this was like a very good episode for her. She had a lot of really good lines. She has a lot of really good action.
Range.
She is shown to be very disturbed. It's very fun. Where she's naming all the turkeys. She lets them all go. She's talking to them. Um, yeah, I thought that she had a great performance. Must have seen performance from
Yeah.
you, Brett White.
I'll give it to Linda Lavin just because like I also think that she is the grounding force, but she's that kind of magical great grounding force character that also gets to be funny or that also gets to be like she is always she's self-aware, and so therefore she gets to like interact with these weirdos in a very interesting way where like I don't know, like if they were always getting one over on her, then she's an idiot.
Yeah.
She's like so smart but kind and like
Yeah.
like yeah, it's a very unique performance style, and especially in this show.
Yeah.
I would rather like I could imagine her being on ER, which I assume she probably
I
was at
assume
one
she was.
point
Well,
actually.
she after
Yeah.
this, she went on and did just tons of TV, tons of stage, a
Yeah.
lot of stage.
She's
Um,
great.
yeah.
And lastly, must other people see this episode, especially at
Yes.
Thanksgiving? Yeah, I think this
Yes.
is it's worth the $2 you partially have to pay, I guess.
Yeah.
But no, it's such a fun, it's a really fun episode. It's a really kind of a good lost like Thanksgiving episode because people, don't really talk about Alice that much.
Yeah, it's one of those shows that was so huge for its time. Literally 202 episodes,
Number 4 this
nine,
week.
9 seasons,
More people
and,
watched it than the Star Wars Holiday Special.
and people, kind of put it down to be like, oh, that's the show with Mel's Diner, Kiss My Grits, right? Yeah,
Kiss My
that one.
Girls. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But no, like the writing is very sharp, performance is very solid.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
wasn't a high concept show by any stretch of the imagination. It was
No.
life at a diner. A
Yeah.
single woman working at a diner with who has a kid. That is there's no aliens land and we got to do this kind of thing. It's like, no.
There's no Samson, no Delilah, no Battlestar, no Starbuck.
No
Hey.
Battlestar, no Galactica.
No,
It really
no
is.
Boba Fett.
It's very simple.
Yeah.
It's very simple, and maybe that's why it doesn't come up on the radar that much.
But I think that like it would be, I think if you dropped Alice on Netflix, which would never happen because Netflix doesn't really give a shit about ponying up money for library of classic content. I do think this is the kind of show you just put on. Like it's a Golden Girls. Like you could just, and also I think that's why cable now runs 12-hour blocks of Alice. But I do think like there's something comforting to the rhythm. It's kind of a platonic ideal of a sitcom in a way.
Yeah.
But that, I mean, is that everything we have to say about good old Alice?
Yeah. It's a good old slice of American television.
Good old America. So let's wrap things up. And Ethan, where can people find you on the internet if they want to talk about plastic turkeys or
You can
pilfered hot turkeys?
you can check me out on Ethan K55 on Instagram. Fun stuff always there. Brett, how about you? Where can people find you?
Well, you can find me on Instagram at Brett White. You can also find Barb Hardley, the drag woman that I am when I feel like it, anywhere at Barb Hardley. Check out the YouTube channel for Must Have Seen TV, and be sure to join the Must Have Seen TV Patreon at patreon.com/musthaveseen TV. $5 a month gets you a ton of bonus content, including the bi-weekly episodes of the companion podcast Must Have Now TV, where we give recommendations of things that we are enjoying currently, as well as plenty of other behind-the-scenes goodies, newspaper clippings, musings, etc., etc.
And we're
All
not
at the
going to
Patreon.
tell you right now what we're liking because you have to go to the Patreon to find out. But in the old episodes of Must Have Seen TV,
We just talk about it then.
yeah, but now
Gave us a free. Now
For
we know
some
where the
reason-
goods got get money for.
we think it's valuable. Thanks to the brilliant Dynamo for all our podcast art, and thanks to the 5 Smith brothers for our theme song, I'm in favor of friendship, and thanks to Acast for hosting the podcast. Like and subscribe wherever you listen to us to get all the latest episodes, and leave us comments and reviews. Like you heard tonight, thank you. For we talked about it here on the show, and sometimes we take suggestions for upcoming episodes, because we love you.
Yeah. So join us in 2 weeks when we will be watching another Thanksgiving episode. Small Wonder
Oh God.
episode, Thanksgiving Story. She's a robot. Can she eat turkey? We'll find out. She is a robot, right? That's her thing.
He is a robot.
She is a robot.
Sometimes
Oh,
you just
boy.
want to see how much gravy the robot can drink before it shuts
Until
down. He's like,
They're
it's a whole
seeping out the pores. Yeah. Everyone dumping their Alexas into the gravy boats.
Yeah.
Until then, everybody, we'll see you next time on Must Have Seen TV.